If you're over 60, you've probably been told that walking is the best exercise you can do. And while walking is good, research now shows it might not be enough anymore. In fact, multiple studies have found that muscle loss, balance decline, and metabolic slowdown accelerate rapidly after the age of 60, and walking alone doesn't effectively stop that. But here's the good news. Recent science shows that just 3 specific exercises done a few minutes a day can outperform walking when it comes to longevity, fall prevention, strength, blood sugar control, and independence as you age. And today, I'm going to break down exactly why walking falls short after 60. The 3 exercises proven to work better and how to combine them with the right foods to maximize results safely. Let's get into it. Why walking isn't enough after 60. Walking primarily improves cardiovascular health, but it does very little to stop sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, bone density decline, balance and reaction time deterioration. Research published in the Journal of Gerontology shows that adults over 60 can lose up to 1 to 2% of muscle mass per year, and walking doesn't provide enough resistance to counter that. And muscle loss isn't just about strength, it directly impacts blood sugar control, joint stability, fall risk, even lifespan. That's why the focus needs to shift from just moving to stimulating muscle, balance, and power. After the age of 60, something quiet but devastating begins to happen inside the human body, and most people never feel it coming. You can still walk every day, still feel active, still believe you're doing enough, but beneath the surface, muscle tissue is shrinking, bones are thinning, nerves are slowing, and metabolism is losing its grip. Science calls this process sarcopenia, and research shows it begins as early as your 40s, but after 60, it accelerates sharply. Studies published in the Journal of Gerontology reveal that adults over 60 can lose up to 1 to 2% of their muscle mass every single year, and once that muscle is gone, it doesn't come back on its own. Walking, no matter how faithfully you do it, does almost nothing to stop this loss. This is where the biggest myth in healthy aging collapses. For decades, walking has been promoted as the gold standard for seniors, and while it does improve circulation and heart health, large-scale studies now show it fails to protect the systems that matter most for survival after 60. Research from the National Institute on Aging confirms that muscle strength, not cardiovascular fitness, is one of the strongest predictors of independence, mobility, and lifespan in older adults. In other words, you don't lose your freedom because your heart gets weaker first. You lose it because your muscles and balance fail. Here's the shocking part most people never hear. More than 30% of adults over 65 will experience a fall each year, and falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in this age group. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that one fall every 19 minutes results in death among older adults in the U.S. Walking does not train the body to prevent falls. It doesn't challenge balance. It doesn't strengthen reaction speed. It doesn't improve neuromuscular coordination. When a stumble happens, the body simply isn't prepared to save itself. And the consequences go far beyond broken bones. A single fall can trigger a downward spiral of hospitalization, loss of confidence, reduced movement, faster muscle loss, and early dependency. Research published in The Lancet shows that adults who lose the ability to stand up from a chair without assistance face a significantly higher risk of early mortality. That ability has almost nothing to do with walking distance and everything to do with lower body strength. Walking also fails in another critical area after 60: blood sugar control. Aging muscles become less sensitive to insulin, meaning glucose stays in the bloodstream longer, increasing the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and cognitive decline. Resistance-based muscle activity is one of the most powerful tools we have to reverse this process. A landmark study in diabetes care found that strength-focused exercise improves insulin sensitivity even without weight loss. Walking alone produced only minimal improvements. Muscle, not movement, is what absorbs sugar from the blood. Then there's bone health. After menopause and with advancing age, bone density declines rapidly. Hip fractures are among the most deadly injuries for seniors, with studies showing that nearly 20% of adults over 65 die within 1 year of a hip fracture. Walking applies very little mechanical load to bones. Bones strengthen in response to resistance and impact. Without that signal, they weaken silently. This is why research in Osteoporosis International consistently shows resistance training, not walking, is the most effective exercise for preserving bone density in older adults. Even the brain is affected. Balance and strength exercises stimulate the nervous system in ways walking never does. They improve proprioception, reaction speed, and motor control. A study in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that older adults who performed balance and resistance exercises showed improvements in cognitive function and reduced risk of dementia. The brain thrives on challenge. Repetition alone is not enough. What makes this especially dangerous is that walking creates a false sense of security. People believe that because they're active, they're protected, but the data tells a different story. Research comparing physically active seniors found that those who included strength and balance training had dramatically lower rates of disability, hospitalization, and early death than those who only walked. The difference wasn't small, it was life-changing. And perhaps the most overlooked truth of all is this: once muscle loss crosses a certain threshold, recovery becomes extremely difficult. Muscle is not just for movement, it's a metabolic organ. It stores amino acids for immune function, regulates hormones, protects joints, and stabilizes posture. Losing it accelerates aging at every level. Walking slows none of this decline. This doesn't mean walking is useless, it means walking is incomplete. After 60, the goal of exercise must change. It's no longer about burning calories or hitting step counts. It's about preserving the physical systems that keep you alive, upright, and independent. Strength, balance, control. The science is clear, consistent, and impossible to ignore. Walking alone cannot stop age-related muscle loss. It cannot protect against falls. It cannot preserve bone density. It cannot fully regulate blood sugar. And it cannot maintain independence as the body ages. The longer we rely on it as the primary solution, the more vulnerable we become. But here's the hopeful truth. The body, even after 60, is still incredibly adaptable. Studies show that adults in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s can rebuild strength, improve balance, and reverse functional decline when the right stimulus is applied. The decline we associate with aging is not inevitable. It is largely a result of undertraining the body in the ways that matter most. And that's why this conversation matters so deeply. Because the difference between aging with confidence and aging with fear often comes down to whether you challenge your body correctly or simply keep it moving. What most people don't realize is that after the age of 60, the body doesn't need more exercise, it needs the right signal. And science shows that just 3 simple movements, when paired with the right nutrition, can flip the switch from decline to resilience. Not slowly, not symbolically, but measurably, powerfully, and in ways that can add years of independent life. Researchers studying aging populations discovered something startling. Adults over 60 who performed even minimal strength and balance exercises just 2 to 3 times per week showed dramatic improvements in muscle mass, stability, blood sugar control, and survival rates. This wasn't elite training, this wasn't gym-based, it was basic, controlled movement, and the results consistently outperformed walking alone. One of the most powerful findings in aging science is this: lower body strength is one of the strongest predictors of whether someone will live independently or become dependent. A large study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology followed thousands of older adults and found that those with higher leg strength had significantly lower all-cause mortality, even when controlling for heart health, weight, and activity level. The body doesn't age evenly. The legs go first, and when they do, everything follows. This is why simple sit-to-stand movements like controlled chair squats are so transformative. They activate the largest muscles in the body, the glutes and thighs, which act as metabolic engines. These muscles don't just move you, they regulate blood sugar, support joints, protect the spine, and send powerful signals to preserve bone density. Walking barely challenges these muscles, standing up against gravity does. Then there's balance, arguably the most underrated survival skill after 60. Balance isn't just about not falling, it's about how fast your brain can communicate with your muscles when something goes wrong. Research in the British Journal of Sports Medicine shows that balance training reduces fall risk by up to 42%. That's not a small improvement. That's the difference between a stumble and a hospital bed. Falls don't happen because people are careless. They happen because reaction time slows, stabilizing muscles weaken, and the nervous system loses precision. Balance exercises retrain the brain, they sharpen neural pathways, they improve coordination between the inner ear, the eyes, and the muscles. Walking is repetitive and predictable. Balance training is adaptive, and that's why it works. Upper body strength completes the picture. As people age, they lose muscle in their arms and shoulders even faster than in their legs. This affects posture, breathing, and even heart health. Weak upper body muscles increase the strain on the cardiovascular system during simple tasks like carrying groceries or standing up. Resistance-based movements, even something as simple as wall push-ups, restore this strength safely. But here's where the science becomes undeniable. Exercise alone is not enough. Without the right nutrition, the body cannot rebuild what aging breaks down. Muscle protein synthesis, the process by which the body repairs and builds muscle, becomes less efficient with age. This means older adults actually need more protein than younger people, not less. Multiple studies published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition show that adults over 60 require roughly 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day to preserve muscle. Most seniors consume far less. The result is silent muscle wasting, even in people who appear active. Walking on a low-protein diet accelerates muscle loss. Strength training with adequate protein reverses it. Protein is not about bodybuilding, it's about survival. Muscle tissue acts as a reserve for immune function, wound healing, and recovery from illness. Older adults with higher protein intake show lower rates of frailty, fewer hospitalizations, and faster recovery after injury. Simple foods, eggs, yogurt, lentils, fish, become powerful medicine when paired with the right movement. Vitamin D and calcium play a similarly critical role. Resistance and balance exercises send a signal to bones, but without nutrients, that signal goes unanswered. Research consistently shows that low vitamin D levels are linked to weaker muscles, poor balance, and higher fall risk. Bone fractures are not just injuries, they are life-altering events. Nearly 1 in 5 older adults dies within a year of a hip fracture. Strength plus nutrition dramatically reduces that risk. Inflammation is another silent enemy of aging. Chronic low-grade inflammation accelerates joint damage, slows recovery, and weakens muscles. Diets rich in anti-inflammatory foods, olive oil, fruits, vegetables, turmeric, omega-3 fats have been shown to improve exercise tolerance and mobility in older adults. The body heals best when inflammation is controlled. What makes this combination so powerful is efficiency. You don't need hours. You don't need intensity that breaks you down. Studies show that just 10 to 15 minutes of targeted strength and balance work performed consistently produces measurable improvements in strength, stability, and metabolic health. The body responds quickly when the signal is clear. Perhaps the most hopeful discovery in aging research is this: it is never too late. Studies involving adults in their 80s and 90s show improvements in muscle strength, walking speed, and balance after just weeks of resistance and balance training. Aging does not eliminate adaptation. Inactivity does. This is the difference between adding years to life and adding life to years. Walking keeps you moving through time. Strength, balance, and proper nutrition keep you capable within it. Independence is not lost suddenly. It is lost gradually through small, preventable declines that compound over time. And that's the truth most people never hear. Aging doesn't demand more effort, it demands smarter effort. 3 simple exercises, proper nutrition, consistency. The science is clear, the evidence is overwhelming, and the opportunity is still there if the right steps are taken before it's too late.